Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about Emma Frost. I'm going to be showing you how to play her and explain a couple of things. So she obviously is new in season 2, and I gotta be honest, she is probably my favorite tank to play right now. I think I'm gonna lord her out, and I gotta be honest, the reasons why I like her are maybe a little bit different than why most people like her. Most people like her because, you know, reasons. I don't care much for that. I care about how she plays, believe it or not. But yeah, so let's talk about her. So, let's talk about her offense. So in her normal mode, which is the mode that you normally play, she has her primary attack is a beam. Doesn't have a super long range. Let me see, how long is that? Yeah, 15 meters. So we got a 15-meter range on that beam. The beam is also not super strong, but the longer you hit the beam, the longer you keep the beam on your target and you do damage, the more it will ramp up in damage. You will see that on the screen. You see that little meter that goes up? It says 28 right now. It takes a while to go up. But now we're at maximum. And so this is the maximum damage you're going to do to a target. And I think you have a 3-second window after gaining charge for the charge to stay before it starts falling off. And you see it falls off pretty quickly. So you kind of have to keep the beam on people, even if it's just so you can kind of reset the timer on it. But yeah, it takes a while to get up, and it's pretty easy to lose it, because this is not a lock-on beam like Scarlet Witch or Cloak and Dagger have them. You actually have to aim with this, and it's easy to miss that on a moving target, right? So that's your primary attack. Your secondary is not an attack, it is a shield, and it's one of the most interesting ones. So as you saw, I just placed this shield here, and the way this works is, of course, you see 500 is the shield value, so it's a pretty big shield. And the way you put them up, you hold down the button and it just gives you more and more distance on the shield until it reaches a maximum distance. So I'll show you the maximum distance. This is the maximum distance on the shield that you can do. So I can put it over here technically, right? Which means you can place this in front of your teammates from quite far away. Or you can, you know, kind of block flyers. That's like a thing that I like to do when I see like an Iron Man or something, or a Storm. I just put that right in front of them so that they can't shoot me, right? So I see them looking at me. Or you can also do this to block a Magneto ultimate. When Magneto or Iron Man are shooting their ultimates, you just put that right in front of them, and they won't be able to, you know, hit you then. They have to like aim somewhere else, or they're gonna hit this thing. And I think if they hit this thing, they're gonna hit themselves even. So they can potentially kill themselves on it. What also works is if you have a Scarlet Witch flying down on you with pure chaos! You just put that thing between you and her, and it's not gonna hit you. So this basically works as a wall, or like any other shield. And it's really nice because you have this freedom of like putting it wherever you need it, right? So you can hold it out. You can basically wait for the right moment, and once the moment is there, you just pop the shield where you need it, and that's it. And of course, the shield's gonna lose value if it gets hit, and then it takes time to regen. Like once it breaks, you're not gonna be able to cast another one until your cooldown is up. But the cooldown's very short. The cooldown's very short, as you see. It's like a 4-second cooldown or a 3-second cooldown, right? But if you put up a new shield after it broke, it's going to be on a much lower value. It can still, of course, be valuable. Like if, let's say this shield breaks right now, and I have a Magneto charging up an ultimate, I can still put a shield up to block that. It doesn't matter if this is a 500 shield or a 20 or a 30 shield or whatever. The shield's going to block the ultimate. So keep that in mind. Of course, this is not going to protect you from like people that are constantly shooting at you. If you have like a Punisher just spraying down range, like a lower health shield's not going to protect you from that, but if you need to block an ultimate, this will still do, even if it's lower value, right?
Look who's here.
So those are your primary and your secondary attacks. Let's look at the E. So that's basically the only thing that you have left right now in your offensive kit in your normal form. So what happens when you hit an enemy with an E? You pull out this little, I call it the soul, right? You pull out the little crystal thingy, and what that does is you can hit the crystal, and the crystal is basically going to do damage. If it breaks, it's basically going to do damage. So let's read the explanation. So seize control of an enemy's sentience. Damage dealt to the sentience cascades to the physical form and can be pierced by telepathic pulse. Right? So the telepathic pulse is your normal attack. And when the sentience shatters, it unleashes extra damage on its owner, right?
Look who's here.
So you can, of course, just hit your target like this, but the way you want to do it is, you definitely want to hit him with this, and then, as you see, you can hit the sentience. Of course, let me show you this. Only hitting the sentience, you see this? Like, I'm hitting the sentience, and it transfers the damage over to the actual target. And when it breaks, they take an additional amount of damage. But it's not optimal to just shoot the sentience. Of course, sometimes you have to do it, but in like a closer fight where like your enemy stays near you, the way you want to do it is you want to hit both the enemy and the sentience, right? You want to hit them both to increase the damage, because then you're going to do damage to the enemy, damage to the sentience, which is then transferring the damage over to the enemy again, so you're basically doing like double damage. And then the sentience breaks and does even more damage, right? So you see how long this takes to kill an enemy? If you have the sentience out, you can kill the enemy way faster. So the way you want to do it is definitely, it's not going to be easy against like a real player that's moving around. But if you're like in a cubby and they can't get super far away from you, try to like kind of like, you know, go around them in a way where you can hit the sentience and still keep them in the attack. You know, try to hit both at the same time. That's how you optimize your damage against them. Because to be honest, in this form, Emma doesn't do a ton of damage. Like if you have a fully charged beam,
Some uninvited guests.
you're still going to be decent. You're still going to be killing enemies fairly fast, but not as fast as maybe other tanks. So her burst in this form is not super high. She has more like sustained damage, kind of damage that allows you to harass people a little bit. Let's charge up the beam.
You deserve that, dear.
Double kill. That's 3.
Okay, fully charged beam. You see how fast I can kill someone with a fully charged beam if I hit both the sentience and the enemy at the same time. So your best case scenario is having a fully charged beam and then hitting both of them at the same time. And that's going to allow you to do a lot of damage, but that's not always going to be the case. So prepare for, you know, more like longer beams. Also, kind of practice, you know, tracking enemies with the beam. It's not that hard because the beam, of course, is hit scan. So all you have to do is like really just keep the beam on them. You don't have to lead or anything, but you want to make sure you keep them in the beam so that when you do damage, your beam charge goes up and it doesn't fall back down. So make sure you hit something, even if like one enemy runs away, right? Let's say I'm hitting this enemy, but like this enemy is just like dashing away and I can't hit him anymore because they're like too far away. Try to hit something else. Try to hit something else to keep the beam charging up, prevent the charge from falling off. So that's the best way for you to like maintain your offensive prowess, I guess. And then, of course, we have our shift, which is the diamond form. So when you hit shift, you turn into this diamond form, which is allows you to do a couple different things. Like one of the main things it can do, even like outside of like the offensive changes that it does, is you're going to gain a 30% damage reduction. So this is going to be a good survivability tool for you too. I would recommend that if things look rough, try to put up a shield before you go into the diamond form, just to maximize survivability. So someone's hitting you, just put up a shield, right? And then when the shield breaks, you go in diamond form, right? So let the shield absorb for however much it can, and then once that breaks, you go in diamond form to get that damage absorption, and you know, run to the next heal pack or go back to your healers or whatever. That's the way the survivability basically works out on this character. But let's show this again. In your diamond form,
Look who's here.
you will have certain changed abilities. So instead of your telepathic pulse beam, you're gonna be punching people, right? You can punch people, and also instead of the shield, you're gonna have a kick. And the kick is super nice because what that kick does is not only does a good amount of damage, but it knocks enemies back quite a bit, which means you can use this as like, you know, a tool to get people off a point, off the payload, or you can kick people off the map, right? You can kick people off the map if you want to. So that's a good tool. Keep that in mind. You have that ability on this character when you're fighting near a ledge, you know, popping that and then kicking them off the map. That's the thing you can do, and that's of course going to be the best thing that you can do because it's going to take them out immediately. But even if you don't do that, you have a lot of offensive power. So diamond form is where Emma really shines, where she does a lot of work, because not only can you kick people and it does damage and it knocks them back, but if you knock them into a wall, it's going to do double the damage. So let's look at this here. I'm going to kick this guy here. You see how much damage he took? Like roughly a third, right? Roughly a third of the health bar, right? But if I knock him into a wall, we're basically doing double the damage, right? So the way you want to use this is, of course, you want to knock people into a wall. But let me show you the punches. So the punches, just basically standard melee stuff here. By the way, if you want to see the melee attack, it's basically just this. It's not very interesting, not very strong. Of course you can, you know, you can use that, but since her beam doesn't shoot immediately, you have to kind of hold down the button just for a little bit. Right? It's not like instant. You can't just tap the button and like get a quick beam, right? So you can't do like a quick beam into a melee attack. It just doesn't make sense. You would have to like do it like this and that. It just doesn't make sense. So for her, like, you know, attack weaving with like melees is not really a thing. So I wouldn't worry about it. But punching people in diamond form and kicking them is super fun. The best thing she can do in diamond form, in my opinion, is the grab that she has. So it's called Carbon Crush, right? In diamond form, you lunge forward, you grab an enemy, and then execute a backslam to inflict damage. This works against flyers. Of course, if they're too high, you can't reach them. But you have like a Scarlet Witch. I can show you that clip right now where I'm basically jumping at a Scarlet Witch and I'm grabbing them, I'm slamming them to the ground right as they went for the ultimate. And you can do this with like any flyer really, or you know, like Penny in her ultimate when she starts running around putting webs all over the place. You can just grab her, and I'll show you how that looks. That's extremely fun, isn't it? All right. You just grab them, you slam them on the ground, and of course you want to combo that with a kick. The way you want to do it is you want to lunge at someone, grab them, and then of course, if possible, kick them into a wall, and, you know, hit him like this.
Look who's here.
Optimally, of course, you want to kind of do it like this, because this is a back slam. So optimally, make sure you have the wall that you want to use for the kick behind you, right? So you start with the wall behind you, you grab him, and you turn around, and then you can kick him into the wall, and you don't have to reposition. So keep that in mind when you want to grab someone and then kick them into a wall. Make sure the wall is behind you, because you're going to be turning around and facing the wall afterwards, which makes it a lot easier to pull off the, you know, the kick combo. And that's basically what she does. She punches and she kicks and she grabs people. And it's very, very nice. Of course, like a flyer like this, you're most likely not gonna grab. It's probably too high, but you can get a little bit of height, as you see, right? You can grab someone that's like a little bit higher up and slam them. Right, and that's basically your combo in diamond form. And then the only thing left is basically the ultimate. The ultimate is it's a little complex. I'll read it to you. So you basically, it kind of looks like you're holding a shield out. It's not a shield though. Don't get it confused. It's not a shield, but it basically damages enemies and it puts an effect on people. They basically have like an effect charge, and if you hit them with, you know, a couple of ticks of this ultimate, they're basically gonna lose control over their characters, and it's gonna make them walk towards you, right? It's gonna make people walk towards you, and it prevents them from using their ultimates, which is very nice when you're like pushing a point. And you want to make sure you keep control and, you know, just pull people out of their position, prevent them from using their healing ultimates, for example. So Emma can basically set up a nice little bomb for your team by just making sure your enemies can't hit you or they can't heal themselves. So this is what the ultimate looks like. And then after a couple of ticks, you see it makes your enemies move towards you. And this also works with flyers. Works the same way with flyers, so you can hit like Iron Man's, Human Torch's, Storms. You can catch them mid-air and kind of force them to turn around and come towards you, which of course helps your team finish them off. But just the damage alone from your ultimate is quite a lot against a squishy target. You know, squishy targets themselves, they will take a lot of damage from it. Right? You see? So those are squishy bots, and they die within the duration of the ultimate. The ultimate's even longer, so you could do more damage, meaning that even if they get a little bit of heals here and there, they might still die. Or they might be so weak after that that you can just jump in and just finish them off, right? So that's what the ultimate does. That is basically how to play, or like how Emma Frost works. Let me say a couple more things about just how you want to play. You want to be very aggressive with her, right? You want to be very aggressive with her. Make sure you always put up your shields when you're fighting. You can shoot through your shield. Enemies cannot shoot through your shield. They have to break it, right? So nothing's going to hit you as long as the shield is up. Make sure you always place it so you can play around the shield. If someone attacks you, you know, putting the shield between you and them can really help. And you can kind of play around the shield like this, especially when you're like in a confined space, in a room, in a cubby, where there's not a whole lot of space for your enemy to just like walk away from your shield and hit you from like a better angle, right? If I'm like going over here and I'm like fighting in a cubby, and I put the shield up and it's like it's a more confined space, right? I can kind of play around the shield and make sure that you kind of like always put the enemy on the other side. Like when he comes around, you just go this way. He comes around, you go this way. And that way you can kind of, you know, you can absorb some shots. Of course, this is not going to be the most effective way, but if you're about to die and you have to stall it out, this is the way to do it. You can stall by just literally just trying to keep that shield between you and the enemy. And then, of course, I told you, diamond form, 30% damage absorption or damage reduction. So, as like a last-ditch effort, you turn into this form here. You're tanky, and then, of course, you can go offensive too. But if you have to, use that to get away. Use that to get to a heal pack. Use that to get over to your healers. Use that to get to line of sight. Whatever it is, that's basically your ticket, right? Putting up the shield, and once the shield breaks, you go into diamond form. And of course,
Look who's here.
maybe you wanna go a little bit offensive too. Another thing that, you know, you can do when you're like not like about to die and you just wanna make sure you're playing to your maximum abilities. Do the same thing with the shield. Try to always like block hits. And then just keep the beam on. Just keep the beam on. And they reposition themselves. Okay, you put the shield back up, put the beam on, right? Shield back up, put the beam on.
Double KO.
So by protecting yourself and going offensive at the same time, you give yourself a better chance to win that fight. You're either going to kill the guy or they're just going to back off because they're like, okay, I'm not doing a lot of damage to her, but she's constantly beaming me down. And, you know, that's basically how you win a 1v1. Of course, you're pretty tanky anyway. 650 health is not like the most health in the game, but since she has those shields, I mean, this basically is 1150 health now, right? If you're like on the other side, you have no way to get around the shield. You have to break the shield first. It's basically 1150 health. And then on top of that, you pop your diamond form, and now you can take 30% more damage on top of that too, which basically brings you up to like the equivalent of like 850, almost 900 health. So overall, with all of this here, you could potentially absorb like 1400 damage before you die. And of course, you know, by the time your diamond form runs out, like your shield breaks, your diamond form runs out, guess what you have back? You got a shield back, right? So your shield value regenerates after it breaks. And the longer you can stall it out before you put the shield back up, the bigger the shield value is going to be. So keep that in mind.
Guests.
And that's basically it. That's basically how this character works. Let's maybe hop into a game here so I can show some actual gameplay. But now you roughly know how the skills work, how you're supposed to use them. And yeah, that's about it. All right. So let's do a normal match here. By the way, we got a full lady team. That's crazy. We got a full lady team here. So I'm coming out here. I'm putting up. Actually shot me through the shield. That's crazy. So I'm making sure I'm putting up the shields here. I'm instantly going in here. I'm grabbing the tank. Boom, he's out of here. Grabbing her again. Finishing her off. By the way, during the duration of your diamond form, you can actually grab people twice. The cooldown for the grab is gonna refresh. So she's trying to hit me here. She turns into diamond form. So I'm popping the diamond form. I'm grabbing her again. See, I tried to grab her earlier, but she was in diamond form, so she can't be grabbed. So she goes for the ultimate. I'm behind her. I'm kicking the shit out of her. Okay, so we're approaching the point here. I'm putting up the shield. Shield just broke.
Help, friends. I suck.
Putting up a new shield.
Mental domination.
So I pulled out his soul here, right? And I'm hitting the soul.
Where's the capture now?
Trying to do the same thing with me here.
Capture the mission area.
I'm grabbing her, slamming her into the wall. Just doing some... Okay, I'm actually going for the ultimate here. Forcing them to turn around and come back. So my team can do damage. Fortunately, bad team doesn't understand that now's the time. Pulling out her soul, hitting the soul. Doing a lot of damage to her. Keep the beam on.
This is real firepower.
Pulling out his soul. Trying to hit him and the soul at the same time.
Look out behind you. Thank you. Your mind is mine.
A nice secret.
Okay, grabbing the mantis here. Getting her out.
Power.
Chin up.
I suppose that helps.
Mighty exploding plasma.
Priceless.
Okay, got magic. Kicking her into the wall. Nice. Always making sure we're putting this up. I'm going in. I'm going in.
That was fine. Thank you.
I'm pulling in Magneto here. Nope. Magic wants to go into her ultimate. I just grab her. Make sure we put the pressure on. She's out of here. Okay, grabbing magic again. She's gone. Okay, I got grabbed. No problem. Just keep the beam on. Keep channeling. Okay, going in. So, as you can see, you can
Undefeatable.
Mental domination.
you can of course kick
This is real.
you can of course kick healers out of position, which is one of the best use cases for your kick, to be honest. Making sure the healer is not able to actually target the team. Okay, grabbing her, knocking her against the wall. She's out of here. Magneto here, knocking him. Okay, she's out of here. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so this is how you do it, basically, right? Put your shields up, keep the beam on, pull the soul out, and you know, go into diamond form, punch the shit out of people, kick them into a wall, and you grab them, slam them on the floor. It's the way to do it. So yeah, I hope you guys understand how she works now. I think she's extremely fun to play, especially in diamond form. You know, her normal form is okay, but the 8 seconds in diamond form is where she really shines, where she actually does some major work. You know, with the control of like grabbing someone, being able to grab them out of their ultimate, just taking them out of the fight for a second, slamming them into a wall, maybe off the map. So great control character, great protection for your team. Great damage then too. Quite a lot of damage as you saw. If you do it right, you can take out a healer in literally just like one quick little combo. So yeah, I love her. She's very fun to play. Probably my favorite tank and probably one of my favorite characters. So yeah, enjoy guys. I hope you learned something. If you find out any cool tech about her, let me know in the comments below. I'm always happy to learn. I'm always happy to share the knowledge. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if so, leave me a like, comment, and of course subscribe, because we're going to be posting a lot more content. Go check out my shorts, and all my links are down below. So go check them out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.